Well, good morning, friends. Happy, it's Wednesday for me, but probably about Friday or Saturday for you. I hope your weekend is going well. Uh, my name is Shelby. This is True North Budgets. My fiance Tanner and I are on a journey to pay off our debt and catch back up in some sinking funds that we've fallen a little bit behind in after I was laid off from my job this February. On this channel, we do budget with me's, cash stuffings, cash unstuffings, cash condensings. So if any of that sounds interesting, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and let's get into our video. So today we are going to be doing a budget with me for week 4 of May, and that's going to be the 23rd through the 30th, or through the 29th. So the 30th will start our next week. But 23rd through the 29th, and the income that we are working with for that period is going to be my unemployment check and some Spark income, as well as some rollover income from week 3. So for unemployment and Spark, I'm expected to get about $1,008. I can tell you already, it's looking like it's going to be pretty far over that. And then last week we had a rollover of $1,680. If that sounds different from my last budget with me, it's because I decided last minute before I went to the bank to put $10 into Tanner and I's spending money each. So that took out $20 from that remaining total. So to get into the rest of this, let me go ahead and zoom you guys in really quick. Okay, so I've got multiple categories. I'm just going to scooch my calculator really quick. I have multiple sections on my budget sheet. I do make these budget sheets. I haven't quite listed them on my Etsy shop because I need to kind of simplify it a little bit. Mine is pretty intense. It has a category for all of my binders. I've also thought about doing custom planners. So if you guys do like all of the sections that I have, you could customize it with your section headings. Let me just show you a blank one that I have. So I have already filled in my dates for most of my months. Let's see here. You should be able to see most of that. So it has a monthly dashboard every single month. And then we go into a 2-page monthly overview calendar. And these are undated right now, so that you could use them. You could reuse it year to year if you got a digital copy. If you wanted a printed copy, I could either do those dated or I could do them undated. Just kind of your preference. Then we move into our monthly budget. So the first page of the monthly budget is just your income and then all of your basic bills, subscriptions, debt, and variables. I'll move that down so you guys can see the bottom. And then the second page is where it gets broken down into your savings categories. So I have high priority, low priority, and then on the bottom I have holidays and Christmas. On the next page I have medical and pet, and then we have on the bottom again month ahead and wedding savings. And then on the last page I have future home and future baby. I am missing a column actually. I need one for car maintenance. That's one that I kind of I don't know why I spaced putting that on here, but we are just about to get married. We get married in August. So once we get married, I will actually just edit these pages and put my car maintenance fund in the wedding spot. And then there's at the bottom just a section for some notes. And then we flip into the paycheck breakdowns. I need to adjust mine because I used to go off of a bi-weekly pay schedule, and now I still, for date purposes, I still go off of Tanner's bi-weekly pay schedule to figure out like what month each paycheck is in. but then I'm paid weekly through unemployment and Spark. Spark is a delivery service through Walmart, so I cash stuff weekly. All the paycheck breakdown pages are the same. So there's a spot at the top for income, and then you have bills, subscriptions, debt at the bottom, and then on the side here we have variables and savings. The savings I didn't break down into all of the specific categories like I did for the monthly overview. This is just kind of a general, you put whatever you're saving for that week, and then that repeats however many times you need. I currently have 3 per month, but I need now probably at least 4. So like this month I'll need 6 because Tanner has 3 paychecks, so that's 6 weeks. And then after the paycheck breakdown, it goes into an expense tracker. So this has your date, your category, so which savings category are you spending out of, and then a description, so where did you spend or what did you spend on, the amount, how much was it. I have a spot for the account because we do spend on credit cards to keep our credit rolling. We are paying down debt, but we are in the process of paying that off little by little. And then the spending that we do on our credit cards, we pay off so that we are showing our credit card companies that we can responsibly use a credit card. And it's helping our credit go up because we are wanting to buy a house probably next year. So as much as we can help our credit as possible is welcome. And then the paid column is just for you to check off when you've paid these expenses. This is really helpful for me for our online spending. I also track our cash spending here as well, just because I have a completely separate binder for each individual, not a binder for each, I do have a binder for each savings category, but I have a separate expense tracker for each individual savings category so that I can track what the balance is supposed to be. So every month, or maybe twice or 3 times a month, I go through my expense tracker and I put all of those expenses into my other expense tracker that's broken down by savings category. So there's a couple pages of the expense tracker, and then it just starts over from there. I have also created myself, this is a little custom to my planner as well, I have an extra income page. So this is where I track my Spark income because it is just a guessing game for me to budget out what my Spark is going to be. So I budget extremely low so that I'm at least hitting what I pretty typically make in a day. So more often than not, I make $100 on a day that I'm actively sparking. As you can see, yesterday was pretty slow for me. I only made 80, but almost every single previous day has been at least $70 to $80 over what I've expected to make. So that $20 deficit for yesterday doesn't bother me at all. I also have a whole day of Spark that I did that I wasn't planning on doing because we were traveling over the weekend and I wasn't sure if I was going to want to Spark on that Monday, but I did anyways because there was an incentive that ended that day. So I just did the number of trips that was required to get that incentive, and then all of that was unbudgeted income. So that was an extra $140. So I'm not concerned about that, but the rest of my month has all been well over $100 each day. So that's kind of where I sit. And then the days that are 15, those are just days that I am not actively sparking. I just have tips coming in from the day before. So how it works is that you get all of your base pay that day, not to your account, but it adds to your balance that same day. And then the customer has 24 hours to make any changes to their tips. So you don't get your tips until the next day. So Thursdays, I don't actively spark that day, but I do get paid out tips from Wednesdays. So that's what the 15 is. I'm just hoping to get $15 of tips every single time I work so that that's carrying over. Like last Thursday, I got $79.87. The one before I had $45.23. So that all just kind of is variable. It really depends on how much the customers are tipping. It also depends on the type of orders I'm taking. So if I'm taking an order that I'm actually shopping for the order myself, that I typically get a pretty decent tip for. But if I am getting a lot of orders that the Walmart employees are shopping and I'm just picking up through curbside pickup and then delivering to customers, I don't get tips for those because I'm not actually doing the shopping. I get base pay, but I don't get tips from the customers. So it really just is variable. But that is my budget planner that I use. So if you guys are interested in those specific, in like a custom planner, let me know. Or if you would rather just have a very bare bones income, bills, subscriptions, debt, variable, and savings, just like my paycheck breakdowns are, kind of let me know your thoughts on that. But I do have listed in my Etsy store now, I updated my cash envelopes for my wallet. I can show you guys those really quickly. They stayed the exact same as far as design goes, but I just made brand new ones so they aren't coming apart on the bottom. I had my other ones for a very long time, so they had been through the ringer for sure. And then these ones obviously did not get wet at all. So I made new cash envelope inserts. These I just stick in my wallet. So I just set them in my wallet because my wallet is not technically a cash envelope wallet. It doesn't have rings. I just use those inserts. So if you are in a similar situation, but you want to have some envelopes with you for your variable spending, these would be a great option because they don't have rings. I will be making an option with rings, and I'll be adding a couple different font sizes font styles as well. So just keep an eye on that listing for edits to be made, but they are listed and active as of right now. Anyways, that was a lot of rambling. So let's go ahead and get into the budget. So we have a total of $2,688 that we are working with for this week, and we need to tell the majority of that where to go. I need to get my my little cheat sheet back up. Sorry if you hear that train in the background. I live in a town that we have train tracks running through town, and our town is small, so you can pretty much hear the train throughout the entire town. Okay, so we've got all of that. We have, for bills, we have 3 bills coming out for week 4. We have our dental bill. That is my dental insurance. And that is $43. And then we have our electric bill. This does vary, but I typically budget about $180 every month. During like July and August, I will probably bump that up a little bit because it gets really hot here, and our air conditioner that came with our house that's mounted on the wall, it's like a window unit AC, but the landlord mounted it in the wall instead, like built a little frame around it. That air conditioner does not work very well, so we have another air conditioner that was my parents' old air conditioner before they got central air, and it stands on the floor, and then it has the tubes with the thing that sits outside. It doesn't sit outside the window. You open your window and then you put the tubes in the window and then you close it, so it sits on top of the little plastic tube things. So we have one of those that we keep in our bedroom. So we are constantly running 2 air conditioners throughout the entire heat of the summer, and we have our ceiling fan going. So that's just a lot of electricity that we're using. So in July and August, we will probably bump that up to at least 200, if not like 225. Right now, 180 is actually a little high. I think our bill right now is like 120 or 140 something. I might have the exact number. Oh, it's actually way less. It's 105.19. So yeah, we have a really nice spring where we don't typically have to run anything. We've only had like 1 or 2 days that we've had to run our air conditioner. Otherwise, we're pretty much just able to have our ceiling fan on and then have the doors open, and it's wonderful. So that's where we're at right now. 180 is what we're budgeting for this month. And then we have our Chevy bill. This is Tanner's car payment, and this number I know is astronomical. He does have a 2022 Chevy Camaro, and it is like one of his dream cars. It's crazy. It makes me want to cry every time I see it. We are going to be looking into refinancing, although I don't know. There's just a lot that we have going on right now, so it's just one more thing to think about, to have to fill out an application and all those things. But that is it for our bills, so let's go ahead and add that total up. We have 43, 180, and 875. So 1,098 is the total of this section. And then we'll move into our subscriptions. So we have 2 subscriptions coming out this week. We have our Spotify. This is Tanner's music subscription. And then we have Amazon. That is our Amazon Prime. Spotify is 12. It's actually $11.99, but we round up. And then Amazon is 15. In Montana, we don't have sales tax, so all of the base numbers that you see on all of the subscription services is what we pay. We don't have any sales tax added to those. So the total for that section is $27. And then lastly, we'll look at our debt section. I actually don't have any debt payments coming out this week, so this is just going to be a big fat 0. And looking at our variables, these categories are the same every single week. The amounts vary, but the categories are the same. So we have gas, groceries, and eating out. So gas this week is going to get $32. It gets a base of $25 every week, and then I add an extra percentage from my Spark income. Because I am driving more, I have to spend more on gas, not $400. That's the total for the pay period for Tanner's check. Groceries gets $200 every week, or $400 for every check that Tanner gets. So $200 for this week, and then eating out will get $20 this week. So this total is, I believe, $252. Yep, $252. So let's go ahead and find our remaining total here to see what we have to work with for our savings, and then we'll go from there. So we take the total income that we have, $26.88, and then we'll subtract out the total of each section. So we have $1,098. And that leaves us with $1,590. And then we have 27, leaves us with $1,563. We did not have any debt payments, so this remaining total is the same. And then for our variables, we take out $252. And that leaves us with $1,311. So we have $1,311 to spend on savings or to roll over to week 5. So for our savings, we are going to have to budget for taxes first. Spark does not have taxes taken out of it, so I have to account for that on my own. And then my unemployment check also only has 10% taken out for taxes, so I need to have a little bit extra taken out there. So for taxes, we are going to budget $45 this week. And then I also budget a little bit for car maintenance out of my Spark income, and we're going to do $44. And then Electronics. We'll get 14. Vitamins, this is one of our health categories or medical categories. This will get 18. And then vendors, which is going to end up being our flower vendor, is going to get 16. This is for a wedding category. So we actually did wood flowers for our wedding, and this is to pay those off. I did a payment plan for those because I needed to order them right as I got laid off. So I did a payment plan so that we could pay them in small increments. And then wedding gifts, this is probably going to end up going to Tanner's gift or possibly the groomsmen gifts. And that is going to get 50. And then food for the wedding, this is going to probably end up in the drinks category, is going to get 10. Business, these are anything that business is for anything that I need for my Etsy business, or if I need anything for my YouTube channel or to do like YouTube giveaways. That is going to get 21 this week. And then Tanner and I are going to get some spending money this week. We are going to get $10 each. I haven't been budgeting for spending money for us because of my income being so variable, but it's actually been pretty consistent the last like month and a half-ish. So I decided I should probably give us a little bit of spending money because there's some things that we need to save up for that are coming up in the next few months that we want to buy. So I figured we might as well start putting small amounts in now versus trying to come up with the money at the time. So there's a video game that's coming out, I think in September, that we both really want to get. It's called Borderlands 4. So when we buy video games that we both want, we usually split the cost for both of those, for that out of both of our spending money. If Tanner buys a game that only he wants to play, then he usually just spends that out of his own spending money. I don't usually buy video games that only I will play because I'm not a huge gamer when it comes to just playing by myself. I like playing video games with Tanner, but there's not very many games that I'll play by myself. There's one game called The First Descendant that I will play by myself, but that game was free. It's free on all devices, consoles. We have a PlayStation 5, but it's also on Xbox for free. It's on PC for free. I don't think it's on Nintendo, though. I think it's just Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Anyways, sorry for that little ramble, but Borderlands 4 comes out in September, and I think it'll probably be about $90, so we each need at least 45, if not more. I know Tanner likes to buy the higher packages of the games so that you get more stuff. I don't know, you gamers get it. Those of you that game get it. If you know, you know kind of situation. But anyways, let's get this total for our savings categories. We have 45, 14, 18, 16, 50, 10, 21, and 10, and 10. So $238 is our total here. As you can see, we will have quite a bit rolling over into week 4. We have 1311. We take away the 238. That leaves us with 1,073. That will be rolled over into week 5. All of this rollover, it just kind of sits as a buffer until the very last week of the month for us. I don't budget out any of my unbudgeted income. So all of that extra income that I've got from Spark, I'm not budgeting that until the last week of the month. And that's just because I like to make sure that everything that I did budget happened before I budget that extra income. So let's say I have all this extra income for the first half of the month, but knock on wood, let's say that I get really sick and I can't spark for a week. That extra income will have to cover the budgeted income for that whole week that I was sick. So that's kind of how I do that. I just wait until the very end of the month, that last week, to budget out all of the extra income. So as I've said in other videos, I'm not concerned about having a zero-based budget week to week, but I do want to make sure that I have a zero-based budget as a month end number. All of my money should have, or all of our money should have a job by the end of the month. It's okay if its job week to week is to act as a buffer. At the end of the month, it will get a new job. So that's kind of how I go over my paycheck breakdowns, how I budget my weekly income. Now that I have this total, I will do a little bit of cash planning on just a notepad. Actually, we can do that together. Let me grab a notepad here. I have cash planning sheets that I designed, but I have not printed them yet. So right now I'm just using a little notepad. I'm going to set my paycheck budget off to the side here. So what I do to cash plan is I write out each of my categories that I am budgeting for. I might speed through this. Okay, so I got all my categories written out, and then I like to write at the top each denomination. Oh, I also am missing my variable expenses. Sorry, my handwriting is a little sloppy because I'm trying to hurry. As of right now, I don't cash stuff for our bills because we are so behind in our sinking funds that our bills have to act as our budget, or not our budget, our bills have to act as our buffer in our account. So as of right now, I don't stuff our bills. I will get to a point where I can, but just for right now, it's not in the cards for us. I do budget ones, so I write out each denomination that I'm going to need. And then over on the side, I like to write out, you guys can barely see that. I have an alarm going off, just a second. Okay, so I like to write out on the side how much I'm taking out total. So we have 45, 44, 14, 18, 16, 50, 10, 21, 10, 10, and then gas is 32, groceries is 200, and eating out is 20. So then from there, I look at how much I need total and I decide what denominations I want out of the bank for that. So for taxes, I need 45, so I will just do 2 20s and a 5. Car maintenance, I need 44, so I'll do 2 20s and 4 1s. And I just do that all the way down until I get to the end. So we'll do a 1 and 4 1s. 18 is a 1, a 5, and 3 1s. Vendors, 16. Wedding gifts, I'll just do a 50. Food can be just a 10. Business is 21. I get 10. Tanner gets 10. Gas will be 32. So 20, 32. Groceries is 200. I'm actually going to do a 100 and 2 50s. And then eating out will get a 20. So now at the bottom, I total up, I kind of just draw a line. And then I'm going to total up how many of each of these I need. So I need 1, we need 3 50s, 20s, we need 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 10s, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 again. And 5s, we just need 3. And then 1s, I need 4, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So this total should be, we'll add it up just to make sure that we get the right number. So it should be 459. Let's just make sure that my denominations equal 459. So 100 is just 100, 3 50s is 150, 7 20s should be 140, and then this is 70, 15, and 15. Already I can tell you that we're off. So I'm gonna double check my math over here to make sure that I didn't calculate something wrong. I did. Holy moly, that is a drastically different number. Let me do that one more time. So 490 is what I got the second time. Okay, well, 490 it is, so I will white this out. This should be 490. I must have forgot. The 21 and the 10 the first time. So 490 is what we should be shooting for. So we have 100 in hundreds. We have 150 in 50s, 140 in 20s, 70 in 10s, 15 in 5s, and 15 in 1s. So 490 is our total. And then from there, I just take a little sticky note. I do have a teller slip also. I don't have it with me. It is off to the side. If I don't have my teller slip, then I will just write it on a sticky note. Actually, let me go grab my teller slip. Okay, so I'm back with my teller slip. So as you can see, it's filled out from a previous time that I went to the bank. So what I do is I just grab a Kleenex and some just basic nail polish remover, and I just wipe it off with that. Sorry, it's probably shaky. I had this written on there a long time ago, so it is gonna take a little bit to come off. I know that people have also said that magic erasers work really well. You can use those to get permanent marker off of laminate. Okay, so I've got it all cleaned off, and I'm just gonna take my permanent marker. I just use a fine tip Sharpie, and I'm gonna write out each of these denominations. So we have a 100, we have 3 50s, we have 7 20s, we have 7 10s, we have 3 5s, and oh goodness, I need 15 1s. So that total should be 490. And then what I'll do is I will take this teller slip to the bank. I will give them this along with my debit card and fill out a withdrawal slip. And I will take $490 out of the bank in these denominations to be able to cash stuff. So I hope that all made sense. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Even if it's not budgeting related, I want to know your guys' questions. If you have questions about myself or about Tanner, how we met, anything like that, any part of our story, if you guys want to know, or if there's any other content that you guys would like to see, let me know that in the comments too. I am open to potentially filming other types of content. Like I've thought about doing like a meal planning page, not a page, but a meal planning playlist, like how I go about my meal planning and how I go about making my grocery list for each week or each bi-weekly period. Or if you want like grocery hauls or organizing videos or anything like that, just let me know what you guys want to see, or if there's any other budgeting content that you guys want to see, let me know and I will see if we can work that into our schedule. But that is all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for returning to my channel. Please hit that subscribe button to show some support for our channel, and we will see you next time. Bye.